At this moment, I would like to tell you an anecdote that happened to me in 1997 when I traveled with my wife to Mexico. First, we arrived in Mexico City and visited the ceremonial center of Teotihuacan, and then we moved to the Yucatan Peninsula. In Yucatan, we visited the Mayan ceremonial center called Tulum, which is located by the ocean. At first, we followed a standard tourist guide, and then we quickly realized that all the explanation that this guide was giving us had no foundation whatsoever and were far from the truth. They were all very mundane explanations, and all from the human and three-dimensional perspective, based on the logic of the horizontal axis of life. But then, something magical happened to us. On a certain moment, we listened to another guide, an elder man, who first of all said that he had been studying the ceremonial center of Tulum for 52 years. This attracted our attention because 52 is a magical number, sacred to the Mayas, and it immediately seemed to us that he might be speaking in a symbolic way. Then he gave explanation regarding each temple, each building. He said that this archaeological site was used to receive the reincarnations of certain spiritual guides of the people. And then he explained how fecundation, birth, and education were carried out in each one of the buildings. He also explained certain tricks of the light and shadow, which took place at certain specific times of the year, at the solstices and at the equinoxes, demonstrating the very high knowledge of esotericism and astronomy that these people possessed. Then he gave an explanation of the largest temple, which was devoted to the descending god, to Harpocrates. He also explained that this place had been built on the shore of the sea because, as it was used to receive certain reincarnations to life, the sea symbolized precisely the amniotic fluids, the reproductive waters of birth. We were amazed at such extraordinary explanations, but the best was yet to come. The guide saved the best for last. There was a small temple located to the left of the temple of the descending god, and looking straight ahead. And then he began his explanation on this side. I remember his words very well, although 17 years have passed since that encounter. He said, "This is the temple of wisdom. To reach the door of the temple, you must climb a staircase of 13 steps. At each step, a celestial science is studied, such as astronomy, astrology, Kabbalah, alchemy, and so on. Each step has a different instructor or teacher. Each step becomes more and more difficult as you ascend. To move upwards from one step to the next, all the knowledge of the previous step must be qualified. But the most difficult of all is when you reach step number 13. In that step, you study the science of self-knowledge, which is the most difficult, because there are no instructors. Each one must study it by himself, within himself. If the person gets to know himself, he passes step 13 and stands before the entrance door of the Temple of Wisdom. There, something stunning happens again. The temple door is very small. It is very low. In order for the aspirant to enter the Temple of Wisdom, he must first kneel down, a symbol of humility. And yet, he still cannot pass through, because the door is too low. Then, kneeling down, he has to lower his head, a symbol of pride. And then, yes, on his knees, with his head down, he can enter the Temple of Wisdom. "17 years have passed, and I still cannot forget this magical event, this encounter with that guide who, without asking for anything in return, had taught us about the Mayan wisdom."